Hey, Randy here. Shall we make a game? So yesterday we tried to implement the selection system in our menu, so we'd be able to mouse over things, click on them, things like that. And kind of didn't quite succeed, but that's okay. We're going to try and do it today. So this is the crux of the bit where I got to and went, my God, I was too tired to work on this. We have this function here where every single time we're updating the screen, that is, we're advancing game state and then rendering a frame, we are basically taking our updated cursor position and we are comparing it to the stack of what we're calling image components. So they represent the 2D graphics overlaid onto the scene. So just going to reread this and make sure I understand exactly what I've done, make sure it all makes sense. So we come in at the very top and we check the pointer state. So if no mouse cursor is available, which could be happening because the light gun's pointing off the screen, or it could be happening because, say, a modal is up that blocks access to the game itself, we check whether we're interacting with a component, and if we are, we then work our way through the possible states it could be in and fire off the events to say, yeah, you're no longer being activated, you're no longer being hovered. And then we reset the selected image, well, the kind of like active image, to kind of like a non-state. So then next up, we basically have to go through the images and we have to figure out which one we're hovering over. And that seems simple enough. Yeah. So we can probably get rid of that because we can return further up. We're never going to have any work to do if the pointer's unavailable, short of cancelling whatever state we're in. Simple enough. And now we're trying to figure out if we need to do anything. So if the cursor is being positioned, but it's not being clicked, there's a couple of possibilities there. Either the user isn't clicking or the user has just stopped clicking. So we need to actually look at the options there. So if we selected absolutely nothing, if we're not mousing over anything at all. Yeah, okay. We then need to compare that with what we're interacting with. So yeah, we need to see if we're pressing all the wrong buttons, damn it. We need to, if we were previously interacting with something, we then need to check, well, if we were hovering over it. Yes. Okay. So yeah, if we were activating it, that means that we had almost kind of like this menu functionality here. You click on it, it's now activated, but you can drag off, drag back on. That deactivates and reactivates the button. We need to deactivate it and then specify that we're no longer activated. Likewise, if we are if we were hovering over it and then we're no longer hovering over it, we need to unhover it. Okay, that's simple enough. But in both cases, hang on. No, there is a difference here. If we were merely hovering it, we deselect it because we are no longer interacting with that object. If we weren't clicking on it, we've gone. But if we were activating it, we do stop interacting with it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, if we were activating it, we've made an explicit request to interact with it, and we want to keep it as the target, even though we're no longer highlighting it. Ow, sorry. Next up, if we're hovering over, if the mouse is over the object we are currently interacting with, we now need to actually check a few things here. Oh, hang on, I just realized I've done something wrong here. Because if the component was activating, in all cases we need to disable the, because this entire branch is about the mouse isn't being clicked. So yeah, so if we work on like activating it, like this, and then we simultaneously move off and release, it shouldn't do anything other than deactivate the button. Same goes for hovering. So we unhover it, nice and simple. Okay, so if the button is released and we are hovering over the thing we're currently interacting with, in that case, we need to check a few things. If we were activating it, so that is we were previously clicking on it, we're no longer clicking on it, we need to deactivate it, and we need to hover it. Yep, we need to hover it. Yep, that's simple enough. And then we also need to call the callback for when it's clicked on. Yeah, image component clicked callbacks. Do I have a thing in here for that? No, actually I shouldn't need one. Yeah. So in theory, these activate, deactivate, hover callbacks should never destroy the object you're interacting with. They could though, couldn't they? They definitely could. They shouldn't, but they could. And you know what? These could also destroy the object we're interacting with. Ha. Okay, all right. So maybe it doesn't re-hover in the same frame. I think that would honestly make a lot of sense. We need to grab the callback before we deactivate. So then even if they destroy it, we can still... But should we? It's getting complicated. I need to deactivate it and then I need to mark it as inactive and then... Or do I? No, I'm not going to. It's up to the caller, I guess, to mark it as unclicked. Do I specify that in here? Yeah, it's only when it's cancelled before confirmation. So the fact it's, yeah. We can ignore the fact that it's, we're not going to deactivate it before. We are not going to deactivate image components before notifying they're clicked. Fair enough. Okay, so... This should be the only place. No, it's not going to be the only place. So we're going to have more input methods that don't involve this kind of like extra step of kind of like, you know, activation stuff. So let's just, for the sake of my sanity, put this in here. Okay. So, mouse cursor is no longer clicked. We are hovering on the thing we are currently interacting with, and that isn't nothing. So we then... Yeah, we're not just hovering over it, actually, we're actually interacting with it. In which case, we click it, and then we declare that we're no longer interacting with anything at all. All right. Now, this is the third case where it gets more complex. So we are now hovering over something that is not what we're currently hovering over, if that makes sense. So we need to notify it that it's been clicked on. Actually, you know what? I was thinking for a second, it's going to get really complicated because, you know, I'm going to be notifying it that it's been hovered over, but not notify it that it's... Hang on, I'm thinking and it does hurt. You see why I just noped out this yesterday? Yeah, so notify it that it's been clicked on, but it could... So hovered over, not clicked on. And then take its number, but it could have self-destructed in that time. So we'll instead take the number before, because when we destroy a component, yeah, that's right. When we're destroying a component, we're actually updating the interacting index there, so we don't lose track of what we're interacting with. So I might actually start doing that before all of these. That would actually make way more sense, wouldn't it? No, hang on. Moving this one back down, and this one. Just this is a special case. Okay, so if we are selecting, we then need to actually consider something. If we're hovering, we activate, but in any other case, oh, hang on. Hang on. We need to check whether this is a new click, because yeah, if we started selecting this advance, that's the one. So if we started selecting this advance, we are then going to activate whatever we happen to be mousing over. We need to import the header for this. Look how much easier this is than using an off-the-shelf game engine. Where was I? Oh yeah. So we start selecting this advance, and if we're hovering over something, then hang on a second. If we are hovering over something, oh my God, hang on. My brain is melting. Okay, if we are currently, help. If we are currently hovering over an unrelated object, we need to tell it you're no longer hovering over that. But in the process, that might remove the thing. Hang on. That might actually remove the thing that we are supposed to be interacting with. Ah! Feasibly, it is possible that telling, say we had two buttons over here, right? It is feasible that we could unhover one and click on the other one in the same frame. It's unlikely, but it's possible. In which case, unhovering that might say, create an image component or remove one and change all these indices and break them. Ah! My brain. Okay, so I have a workaround for this, and this is horrendous. All right, So you know how up here we have this interacting index, and it's automatically adjusted, so that if you remove something from the queue, it kind of shunts everything out the way. What we're going to do is a monstrous, monstrous state of affairs. We are going to take a copy of what we're currently interacting with, what we're about to unhover, right? And then we are going to move what we're currently hovering into the global variable so that if this ever moves it, it'll be moving the one we're about to select, not the one we're deselecting. And ow, my brain. Ow, 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 ow. So then we need to check after that, well, you know, have you deselected anything? Because now you need to activate it. Sorry. Yeah, we need to make sure that it didn't deselect anything. My God. Okay. Now, the other possibility is that we are already activating something. In which case... Oh, actually, there's two cases here. There's two more cases. Okay, so if we're activating something and we are no longer hovering over what we are activating, we need to deactivate it. Right, yeah. Okay, and then the final case is that if we drag the mouse back over whatever we previously deactivated but never released the mouse button from, we then need to reactivate it. Okay. Okay, so if we're hovering over what we are currently interacting with and what we're currently interacting with isn't nothing, and it's not activated, then activate it. Ow, my brain. Ow, 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 ow. Why do people write code? We're not built to do this. It hurts. Okay. This shouldn't do anything at the... Oh. Well, it might crack. It might fail to build. Okay, you can't have constant function pointers. Okay, whatever, I guess. Let's keep working for these errors until it's happy. Did I not declare this? Oh, I guess I didn't. My God. Yeah, very glad I left this to today. I would not have been able to do this yesterday. Okay, that can't be const. This also cannot be const. It's also the wrong type. Very smart of me there. I called it clicked and then... I can see why I've called it clicked. Alright. Let's be consistent with our nonsense. It's called the same thing everywhere. Okay, that's a nice short list of errors. What do we have? More invalid const. What's this? And one more. My God, it built! Well, it's building, but if it's got this far, it's probably good. Come on, you can do it. Build, please. Build! Okay. It hasn't crashed. That bodes well. So next up, I need to actually kind of prove this is all working. So, how am I going to do this? I guess the fastest way would be to introduce a major hack. I've never actually committed any of this stuff, have I? I'm going to do that now. I've gone like 3 streams without committing anything. This is just a very, very, very bad timeline we're in here. I don't even remember what change I made here. Right, so let's make some test images and use them to test that our state changes are working. So I'm just going to save this into kind of the same directory. This will do. So we're going to have a normal state. It's nice and small, something that we can easily identify. Actually, maybe make it slightly bigger so I can write some text in it so I can clearly see what I'm doing. So in this one, we're going to have normal. And then we're going to have one for hover. Hover was a damn good game back with Windows 95. I'm going to try and fit the word activate in here. Just about managed it. And then we're going to have one for clicked. That'll do. That does look like I've written something else, but I said the right word as I was writing it. You know what I mean. Okay, so we've got our list component. And in here we're going to lay out our actual... We're going to have our kind of callbacks in here. Oh, actually, that's kind of nice. I can actually just use that, I guess. Yeah, because this should be the component of the image that we've clicked on. So I'm just going to import those sort of mock-up images I've just made. Let's go to pointer.c. That should have an image import in it. There it is. So we have pointers normal, pointers hover, clicked, and activated. Oh yeah, I forgot that you need the coordinates. Damn it, I'm not going to have them here, am I? Oh well, it'll just move to the top left corner and I can just deal with it. That'll do. And we're going to do the same thing for... Oh, actually normal. I'm going to need some more. I'm going to need some more in here. I'm going to need unhovered. So we'll really capture all these states and make sure they're all moving between properly, and deactivated. So okay, bring those in, unhover and deactivate. Now my tense is all over the place. Sometimes it's activated, sometimes it's deactivate. Oh well, doesn't matter. It's only for quick testing. We've got clicked, so now we're going to do unhovered. I think I have an underscore in here like this because I think the spell checker yelled at me when I didn't do that. And deactivated. That's going to be the last one. And let's go through to our introduction script, and let's get rid of all of these items except the very first one. So this should only make one list item. And then scroll all the way down here, and this is where we're actually binding up our event handlers. So hovered, and the next one is, what's the next one? Unhover. Kind of makes sense, really. Activate and deactivate. And again, as a quick hard code, basically just going to put them in the top left corner. That should do. Oh, it didn't like that. It did not like that. Oh, the reason for that is that I haven't unwrapped them. Yeah, extracting. Yeah, because they're not real images. They're kind of factory functions to get images. In a production build, they won't be, but they are here. Oh, what am I talking about? I've done this completely wrong. Damn it. They're the callbacks. They're fine. It's this one that's not fine. Yeah, I need to unwrap all of these. Have it in for time halfway through. Ah! Okay. Build, please. What are you doing? Build, please. Why have you stopped? Don't stop there. That's making me nervous. Did it just get stuck or something? What happened? Yeah, it just got stuck. It's just software problems, I guess. That's not working at all. Good times. And then it just froze. Fantastic. My favorite kind of bug. All right, okay. So this isn't working. It definitely built. So next up we have to figure out what's actually gone wrong. So question number one is it actually detecting that we're hovering over the object, or is something going wrong? So let's make it error here. That'll make it crash as soon as we mouse over the object in the top left corner. Okay, yeah, it's definitely detecting that we're inside the object, so it's something wrong with our logic, which isn't really what I wanted to hear. So, okay, so let's start off with the most obvious broken state. The first one is it should be hovering as soon as we mouse over it. So. Oh, that'd be why. Yeah. Why did I do that again? I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Okay, so this should be calling the callback. Let's put an error handler in here and see if it's definitely actually hitting this branch, because it might not be. It's definitely hitting it. It's definitely hitting it. This is coming through to here. Are we definitely storing anything in this list? Ah, hang on, hang on, hang on. I can see the problem. Why did I do that? Why are these in here? None of these belong. The next question is, am I actually... I'm not updating all the flags to say the... Right. Yeah, I need to actually update all the flags to say whether we're actually interacting with an object now. So, what's this one? We are hovering. Why am I resetting the active object to nothing? That doesn't make any sense. It should be this one. Ah! I get why I did that now. Yeah. Yeah, so if we are still selecting an object, if we're still hovering, if there's still an image to hover over at the time of, after we've called that callback, because it could just self-destruct, it's not impossible. That's when we record that we're hovering over something. Nice and simple. You know, something's just occurred to me. Up here we have this logic to mark that we've, reset the thing that we're currently interacting with if it's deleted. Now, the problem with this is we're not actually resetting any of this state, so it would remain thinking it's hovering over something that doesn't exist if you were to delete something at the time of being hovered over. That's now corrected. And that means if I go down to, where's that bit of logic I just changed? We can actually just move that on top because it will reset. You know, if doing this destroys the thing that we're hovering over, it will actually reset that for us. Yeah, that looks good generally though. I wonder if that works now. Oh, it does. Hey, oh, and it activated. And then it crashed. That's not good, but we can figure it out. So I think it was the click callback that crashed. Let's have a look. So, oh, it didn't deactivate when I hovered off it, and then it's got stuck in a weird state. Okay. Oh, and then it disappeared. Indirect call to null. And I have this very useful stack trace of the letter D repeated about 1,000 times, which I'm guessing is my render loop, probably. Because you basically use like infinite recursion to make a render loop in the browser for some reason, rather than it being like an event listener or something, which would actually make more sense. Let's crash it again, why not? Anyway, so if the cursor is now relatively positioned, and we're hovering over nothing, and we have hovered something, then unhover it. That should have worked. Right? That should have worked. Is it definitely hitting this? It's not hitting this. Okay, why isn't it hitting this? Are we failing to set this flag? So we're relatively selected. Okay, so activate it. Activating it's true. I'm just going to move that header there because of that thing again where it's going to reset the flag for us if we turns out we did it wrong. Same for that one. So if it turns out we're deleting the object. Okay. So the problem is We're dragging out. So it's while we're selecting. If we're activated, it has gone down. Yes, so if we are in the process of activating something and we are no longer mousing over it, we could be mousing over nothing or we could be mousing over something else. We've got to deactivate it. Right. Is this definitely being hit? No, it's... Wait, oh, wait, it is deactivating. It's just not reactivating when we re-enter. Okay. That's the actual issue. Right. It's this part here that's wrong. This is the bit that isn't being raised somehow. So we're hovering over the thing that we're interacting with, and we're not interacting with nothing, but we haven't activated it, but we are now, yeah, so we're now hovering over it. So that should be working, shouldn't it? What's going on here? Oh, it is working. So, oh, I know what's happening. Oh my God, I'm so stupid. The introduction cutscene is bringing up the thing that blocks the mouse. Oh my God. I am such a dum-dum. Okay, all right. And that's the reason why it doesn't crash if you wait when you click. Okay, we've still got an issue with the click functionality, but if we go back into the list component, should now be able to figure out what that is. Sorry, not the list component, the image component. So clicked. Oh, it might actually be in here that we're having a problem. Yeah, I'm not checking whether this callback actually exists before I execute it. So what type is in here? I guess it's that one. Yes, only execute the callback if you actually have one, please. Don't be executing nothing. All good, all good. It looks like the Twitch outage just resolved itself as well. Okay, that's now working pretty cool. So, let's just check in our quick fixes in here. The other kind of like really complex edge cases, who knows? If it crashes, it'll crash. I feel like we've done more than enough testing here. So, for now, I'm not going to have any hover animations at all because I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to do them. There's the whole thing with font rendering, and I feel like I've spent way too long on this as is. So let's put all of this back for now, and then just connect up our click events, and then see if we can get our first kind of like dialogue interactions happening. Can leave that in there. Get rid of all those. We can get rid of all of those except the mockup. We want to keep the mockup. And then Let's give that a go. I am... Oh yeah, I need to actually implement these alignment options and make it so this actually tracks with the character. Because at the moment, these aren't actually pinned to anything in 3D space. I've got the coordinates here, haven't I? Not quite. It looks like I deleted them. Oops. Right, I should probably make a helper that allows me to just basically display a line of dialogue at a certain point in space, because that's going to be something I do quite often. Yeah. All right. So the list component is basically all of this, nice and simple. But at the moment, I think it takes like a position in 2D space. So we need something to notify this list component every time the gameplay state advances that it could have moved, gets attached to a 3D object. Is there a good way of doing that? I guess I could make a special sort of component factory that basically just attaches it to a point in 3D space. I'm not really keen on that, but I could definitely do it. Do I just make like a helpers, I guess? Yeah. These aren't components themselves, but they're common helpers for working with them, I suppose. Yeah, that'll do, I guess. Don't like it, it'll do though. So we're going to have a helper here to basically display the current line of... Yeah, that's I had to stop and pause and think about that for a second. And this is a header file, so we don't declare a body. You complete nincompoop. Right, so what we're going for here, it's a line of dialogue, so it's going to grab the current text from the... Oh, but how... Yeah, because I'm thinking about this. I could have this like spawn an advanced component that kind of like anchors it to a point in 3D space. The problem is, we need something to tell that component to say like track where an object is. Do I have in the animated mesh component a thing to retrieve the... I have one to set the transform, but not to get it. Not very keen on that. Anyway. This has got me thinking, because I'm kind of like working everything in queues here to try and make sure that my kind of like memory use is just, like, well, yeah, my kind of like page activity, memory page activity is efficient. But it's all turning into a big heap of function pointers, which is decidedly not great, as it means it's kind of like jumping all over the place logic-wise, like the instruction cache isn't going to be hot. It's going to be thinking, would a better engine design, I mean, like, this is out of scope for this project, be to basically just have a huge stack of like simmed operators and just make them really easy to operate, really easy to use. I mean, it'd work in really big scale games, but like when you got stuff like this, when you're kind of commanding individual objects to do things, I don't think it'd be that useful. Needs some force, I think. Okay. Creates a dialog box in fixed to a point in 3D space. Which is dismissed by selecting anywhere on screen with the cursor. And then if we go to the list component, go to its header, and just document, this is going to clear the text currently in the system. Also, a lot of things like fonts would never really work like that with that, unfortunately. Error if any of the required resources are exhausted. I mean, like, it's going to be a lot of different things at this point. It's going to be image components, all sorts. Okay, so our parameters. We're going to take in a header. Heading. Does it say header or heading? Heading. And we're also going to have to specify that point in 3D space. We're not going to bother returning a component because we're not. Oh, but here's the problem though, right? If we're just making an advanced component and we're just making a, we'll make a new entity. I was just thinking, if we're making an advanced component, we're making a list component, which one destroys which? The answer is they should both be a child of the same entity, and we'll just make a new entity there and then. And then we're going to need the position in 3D space. Let's just take it in as 3 parameters. Array arguments are overrated. Work for Minecraft, didn't it? How are we doing for time? Roughly 12 minutes left. Okay. Definitely feeling it, but we can probably get this little helper done. And we'll be using this an awful lot. Now, I'm actually just going to delete everything out there except those two because I'm actually going to call it entity helpers, given it's not necessarily components we're working with. Why did I just delete that? Why did I just do that? Am I stupid? Don't answer that. We want entities, we're going to want components. We're going to want advanced components because we want to put stuff into the update queue. We're going to want list components. And I think that's everything. Wait, we're also going to want the pointer. Okay, so lots of things need to happen when you do this. So we need to, oh, how's it going to get back to the entity from the component? I'll make it modal. I'll just store the current entity in the global variable and just delete it from there. Okay, we should have entity ID none, I think. Why have I made all of these fetch from the parent directory? They're in this directory. Why are they all plural? What am I doing? Okay. All right. So, do we not have an entity ID none? What's going on there? Yeah, I definitely have one. Oh, I didn't prefix it. Right. Oh yeah, I'm also going to need the error component. Okay. Right. Go make a new entity. And then we are going to wait for the next selection start, and then we are going to in that selection start, we're basically just going to delete the entity straight up. So nice and simple. Nice and simple. Can I type this correctly once tonight, please? Definitely not back up to 100%, but definitely better than I was. So we've got this entity. Now we need to start spawning things. So we're going to create a list component. Yep, we're going to use that new entity ID we just created. We're going to, for now, we're going to left top align it. It's not right, but we'll figure it out. Ah, I did it wrong again. And then, yeah, this component. Then we're going to append 2 items to it. We're going to append a header using the heading. I've just had the sudden realization I can't do this because I need to get the text out of the text system and into the second line before it goes into the heading. Internal screaming. Ah. Huh. This is kind of a, oops, I really just did that moment. I really just made that gigantic mistake. Speaking of gigantic mistakes, let me just correct one here. There we go. Complete disaster off stream averted. Moving on. Yes. Right. How am I going to get around this? Because I can only add... I can't add things to the top of the list by design. And I have the second item before I have the first item. Kind of feels like I've messed up there. I'm going to have to think about this another time because yeah, I've just completely screwed up here. Let's just add an item for now. So I'm going to add it to our list. It's not going to have a callback, so we need to bring in standard def because we need null. And as we all know, null is not built into the C language for some reason. And it's not a heading. Okay, at least that was nice and easy. Right, and then we need an advanced component. And again, we're going to attach that to the same entity so that destroying it stops the, removes the item from the queue and also deletes the list. And we're going to need another callback up here. Yeah, we'll get the component ID here. Don't really need it, so we're just going to void it off. Yep. Okay, good. And then we can then store a global variable for our component ID. I've just written that twice. What am I doing? I'm definitely too tired to be doing this. Okay, yeah. And then we can set that at the same time. We can actually get rid of that local variable. No longer need it as we have a global. Very nice. We can then tell it what to run each frame, and then in here we can then position it. I need to actually store a position in 3D space as well. Not that any of this actually helps, because it's not going to be able to put a title on this. I need to think about that off stream. I'm sure I'll come up with something. And then we need to populate these from these. All right. Very, very good. Very nice. Now we need to come into here and you know what? I'm actually going to call this right at the start. And the reason I'm going to call it right at the start is that I just want to apply that positioning straight away. No, actually I'm not. I'm very indecisive today. Not good. Not a good look, is it? Where am I going to put this modal if... Where am I going to put it if I don't... Because like it's possible for the camera transformation to fail. You know, say if it ends up off screen or something. What am I going to do then? I guess I'll just put it like 10,000 pixels off the screen. It'll probably do. Again, internal screaming. My apologies. We need to import the matrix header. I'm using it. So, oh, and we also need the camera. Damn, look at all the stuff we need to attach. Just to make a dialog box stay in one place in the scene. It's almost like my engine is completely terrible in all aspects and measures, isn't it? Matrix image, and then we're going to get the point in 3D space. Oh, that needs to be a vector though. Fine. Fine, you win. Okay, I should probably also, just as a bit of an idea, you know, actually put the parameters in here. Nice and simple. Okay, very good. Very happy with that. And then we need to copy over all 3 axes. First of all, no, actually, let's do it first. I'm going to forget about it otherwise. Is there a simple way of copying like an array like this in C? I don't think there really is. I don't really want to write a function for this, but I also don't want to have it copy pasted everywhere. Begin to rethink this array thing. I'm definitely going to keep like 70% of this engine when I go into a next project, but there's things I'm considering reworking. Big things. Yeah, things like the triangle rasterizer, as terrible as it is, I'm kind of happy with that. Anyway, let's just get this working and then I'll call it a night there. Right, so I'm going to add a reusable little function here. And it's going to have, yeah, signed outputs. And then we're going to call into our helper here. can move this slightly further up so we can have it ready for when we actually means we then call into this from both here when we're creating it and here when we're updating it. Almost ready. Almost there. Whew. And then, right, we're using the fixed location as the point where we're transforming. We're using the camera matrix. Yeah, one thing I'm not quite sure on is whether the camera should be calculated before or after the main game tick, because they're kind of hard to separate. And as much as I don't want the camera to lag a frame behind the gameplay, you end up with stuff like this where you're needing the camera halfway through rendering, and in which case like the game is actually lagging behind the camera at that point, and I'm like, is it better to just have the camera a frame behind? I don't know. Don't like it either way. Yeah, maybe actually no, maybe this kind of thing should be calculated at the point of rendering. Huh. Sounds like a problem for tomorrow, doesn't it? Have a great evening. I'm gonna go lie down.